So the oil field is cutthroat, like no questions. They'll cut you off and move on. I've seen a guy that was really close with my bosses. He was Air Force CCT. Yeah. No. He was a PJ, Air Force PJ. Right. My homie, Air Force PJ, pararescue jumper. This dude pissed off for cocaine, and they fired his ass off. And he was tired with everybody, and he was doing coke with them, but he pissed hot, and they couldn't keep him around. He was a liability, they said, to the company, because we contract with XTO, and there's no tolerance, I guess. So I haven't seen this guy, but he was smart. He was talking to me about tax liens, and he was gonna get into that. I don't know anything about that shit, but yeah, I would keep that in mind. Oil field is cutthroat. You can go from hero to zero in a split second, and reputation is everything in the oil field. It can hurt you. You know, a lot of things can hurt you if you're not in with the right people, and you got a good reputation. People are gonna look at you different initially when you work with them. Now, most guys that have real experience in the oil field that I know, that are like 10-year guys, they've worked for a bunch of different companies. I haven't met anybody that's worked at the same company and had so much experience. That should tell you something. Some of these guys work together at other companies before, so they all know each other, and so they're all spreading their reputations around to each other, and it's all good. Like, yeah, I didn't have no problems with any experienced guys that I worked with, but I do know some guys had problems with other guys, like, and it showed. One of my buddies, the mechanic, he owns a ranch, and they do a lot of off-roading stuff. He recommended, no, it wasn't him. It was a Canadian guy that recommended this. I'm sorry. This guy looked like Wolverine, right? And his best friend was like dating Julianne Hough. So he was kind of like, had his face in the air, you know, thought he was cool and shit. He was a real small guy, but he looked like Wolverines. And I was like, I asked him, like, do you look like that guy? and then he gets it all the time. So I've heard other people ask him this shit, but he was cool. But he recommended me read a book called "Don't Tell Mom I Work the Rig. She Thinks I'm a Piano Man in a Whorehouse." That's a real book by Paul Carter, right? Paul Carter. I think it's Paul Carter. I need to confirm that. But I read the book, and it was one of my favorite books to read. So if you ever have a chance to pick that book up, I totally recommend it. Don't Tell Mom I Work the Rigs. She Thinks I'm a Piano Man in a Whorehouse. And I usually read books that people recommend. Like if somebody recommended it to me, and they don't really read books, especially, then okay, let me check into it. I read a lot of books. I read a lot. I read whatever I can. I try to. Now with this whole digital era, I've been like online watching like history and learning online. YouTube is pretty amazing. You can find anything on YouTube. Learn anything on YouTube. Love it. But I wouldn't like go watch a movie or a video on this book. I would read the book. It's a classic in the oil field. Everyone in the oil field should know about this book. And it's pretty cool, right? So this guy, he's an Australian. He grew up with like a pair of Aussie grandparents and a pair of German grandparents. And he's from the older era where his grandparents were like part of the war or something. I think so. And they both, he said growing up in that environment was kind of unique, you know? So I mean, I imagine it was, you know, like you go to hang out with your dad's family and they're, you know, part of the Western Alliance, and then you go part of your mom's family and she's, you know, they're part of the Third Reich. Was that the Third Reich? Yeah, they tried to be the Third Reich, I think. I forget. I don't know the history. I know they went to war together, and now we're friends. So Australian and German bloodlines and culture in this one dude that goes off to work the oil rigs in the world. It's pretty amazing. He goes around the world too, talks about, like, I think he almost crashed in his helicopter on the way to his offshore platform, and like some pretty nuts stories, like some good ones. Yeah, my stories are timid compared to that guy's. That guy is real, and they got real money. Even I think his parents were involved with oil and gas too. So like, yeah, it's a pretty awesome like environment if your family was to, you know, be part of it. Like if you were all into it, you guys would be pretty wealthy. Have fun a lot. Like when I was in the oil field, my friends were always having fun, doing cool shit, going all over the world, doing fishing charters and climbing mountains and Machu Picchu. They were living the dream. My boys would go down to Vegas all the time and just watch all the shows and gamble. I never gambled till the Philippines. Like I like to save my money, but not fuck. I got fucked up in the Philippines. The casinos in the Philippines got me, and now I play at any casino I could get to in America. When I go to Vegas, I go to Vegas for like a weekend at least, just to play on the tables. And it don't do that. Stay away from fucking gambling. That shit sucks. On the pocket. that gives me some real fun and joy, but I cannot be wasting all my money like that, you know, especially when I have family and kids now and they like nice things. Man. But yeah, I'll tell you some stories about the Philippines here shortly. Yeah. Recommend that book. If you can get that book, please read it and tell me what you think about it. Appreciate you.